Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you all doing? Welcome back to Question Time Live with me, Ricky Stoddart, and we're here for episode number 90. Can you believe it? Really fast approaching that 100 episodes. I'm stunned myself, to be honest with you. So there's some commitment for you. Buzzing. So I hope you're all well. Hope all your ponds are doing okay. I think we're still praying for that sunshine. It's been threatening it a little bit here today, but the morning temps still aren't the best. But fingers crossed, we'll be getting there before long and cracking on with that long-awaited koi season. Although it does feel that I've been at it for a long time already. It's just absolute bedlam at koi wholesale at the minute. It really is. My head's just doing loops on a daily basis. Shipments, pond space, you name it. It's mad. But I have got some updates on a few things this week. So first and foremost, you'll hear me mention this a few times this evening, but we on Sunday we get the initial pre-release of the Battle of the Breeders tickets for our event at Newark Showground on the 27th and 28th of April. And to be honest, guys, you've absolutely blown me away once again. So on the Saturdays, the main Battle of the Breeders event, these were the tickets that were released, and we released 50 tickets. And actually, until I've just had a quick update, we had one ticket remaining. And we have actually now got 3 because apparently due to some personal circumstances, 2 people have had to back out. So if you are wanting to attend for that event, you can see the details on last week's episode 89 of Question Time Live, where, you can see the fish featured and get the full details on it as well. But that's it, guys. 3 tickets left. I am absolutely blown away that we got the majority sold out on the first day. Truly humbling. So very grateful for that. I've mentioned, I can have all the best ideas in the world, but without the support from you guys, none of them will actually come to fruition. So, the sort of allocation, because it's being hosted along with Sunnybank Koi and Chris, Koi Talk Chris, who set up JPN Koi Co. So Sunnybank Koi's got 1 ticket available, which can be purchased on their website. And the other 2 are available through Chris, so we can reach out to him on WhatsApp. Or if you're struggling, you can drop me a line on WhatsApp and I can point you in the right direction. So that's that one on the event. And sorry, guys, I just got a comment there from Richard. We'll get to them in a minute. Where else are we at? Right, so the Sunday, I'm going to start letting you in on a few hints on what's happening. So the Sunday is actually going to be the open event where I say non-ticket holders. Last year we did it ticketed just to control capacity in the venue. So we are going to look to be placing those tickets available to actually just visit the event on the 28th. It's going to be a bigger open event like we did in part 2 last year. And you'll be able to purchase your tickets online soon via the Koi Talk website. Excuse me. So, you'll be able to get them to come and visit us, plus the little bit we've got lined up for the Sunday. So I've not actually managed to get any of the prep done for it this evening, but I was really keen while we're there at the venue to do something that's even more accessible. I feel like we cram a lot of value into the 495 for the Battle of the Breeders, like we did the Secret Sankey event last year. But I do understand that's not accessible for everybody. So given some of the fish I've got coming in, there was a batch that I thought I could get together. And so on the Sunday, we're actually going to be doing another growout event priced at $295 per ticket for the DK Shearut Sori that were featured on my video. Now, it's not the initial 50, the Tatigoi that I selected, because that ticket price wouldn't even scrape the surface. But the pond that I bought afterwards, there are about 50 to 70, I would say, absolutely exceptional pieces in there that weren't far off of that level. So on that basis, I'm going to be making those available for this event on the Sunday. DK Shiro from NND, a real hot property at the minute. These are the new season tosi, absolutely superb, and they're going to get the same growing environment as the Battle of the Breeders stuff as well. So going to be maxing it out. Best thing to be doing on that, I've not got the full ether, and we're not doing the ticket release just yet, but you can bear it in mind for it coming up. And like I say, if you are not in our WhatsApp group, I suggest you get yourself in there, because that's where you're going to get most of this information and opportunities first. We will still be on a full release for like the marketing campaigns for both events. So, but this is for you guys watching Question Time and those in the WhatsApp getting a first opportunity at what we're doing for the loyal support that you give to us. So I will just hit you now with the QR code for the WhatsApp group. If you're not in it already, and we actually surpassed 600 members this week, all UK based, which is phenomenal. Just give me 1 second. There it is. Cover my ugly mug up for a minute. So all you got to do is give that one a scan, and yeah, as soon as we see the invite, we can let you into that. Like I say, I'll drop some more details in on there for the tickets and for the general event and for the DK Sheros. But it's an amazing opportunity to grab one of those new season tosi and get it growing at my place. And again, at a price point, I feel is the aim, just making it really, really accessible. And yeah, if you wanted, any further sort of acknowledgement of what you can be expecting this evening, the video clip I've got is of the Kaze grow out that we did late last year. So those fish are, the growing period has come to an end now. It's actually supposed to be the end of January, but I haven't needed the pond till now, so I've kind of kept them going. They've moved outside now for a little bit more conditioning on the Benny. But I've got a video. I've took some of the snippets from the video I've done for the channel for this evening. So I'm going to share that with you shortly so you can get an idea of the progress they made. But yeah, I mean, exciting stuff. I really can't wait to, for them owners to see them fish for a start and actually get to show you the lineup of this weekend at Newark that we've got, because it's going to be quite phenomenal. So yes, there we go on those ones. Better tick them off so I don't confuse myself. One update on, we're pretty much at a point now where the Taniguchi grow out fish, they've been moved to our outdoor pond today, so we're going to be sorting through and getting the all the update videos done and sent out, so they'll be ready for actually dispatch soon enough, along with all the other sold fish. So we're just working on getting some temperatures down as well, just so they're a lot more relaxed into that ambient temperature by the time the stuff comes ready for shipping. So that's that one. So it is Question Time Live. It would be amazing, guys, if you get some questions fired in for me to work through, and let's try and avoid ones that involve fish food if we can, because I'm not going to lie, I'm feeling a little bit fatigued with that one. I know it is a huge event, but I feel like it kind of dominates every week. So let's fire in. Maybe some koi appreciation stuff would be nice. I don't think we've done too much of that. So yeah, magical. Right, so let's see who is in the house this evening. Let's fire through. We had record sort of numbers last week. I think it was up to about 240 people at the peak, which was absolutely amazing. Really do appreciate that. Oh, yeah, if you've not seen it already, guys, to be honest with you. So I invited Phil from Telford Koi Pond up to mine to do some video footage, some kind of point of view stuff for you guys to see, mainly more than anything. I just wanted to do something nice for Phil, to be honest, since he reached out for the charity event we collaborated on. I like how he just kind of took charge of that. And yeah, I just thought it'd be nice to reward another good gesture. So yeah, he came over, and from seeing his video, I'm not quite sure if his head's recovered yet. But if you haven't already, you can give over on Phil's channel the video. It's split up into 3 parts, or he's having a full walk round everything. So yeah, if you've not seen that already, after the live, don't go yet, but after the live, you can shoot on over and have a watch of all them. I'm sure you will love it. Here we go. Andrew, last back for alive. Yes. Good evening, buddy. But yeah, the Kaze showers have seemed to be a cracking result, to be honest. I'm really, really happy with how they've gone. More, and then just I've actually done a couple of updates on some of the NND Koaku that we've hosted with Sunnybank Koi. Those ones I selected in the mud pond. And yeah, funnily enough, I sent them on to Fujo this morning because he's been really, really interested in what I was going to do with them, to be fair. And having pulled them out, they're sat somewhere, I need to calculate, but they're sat somewhere between 9 and 10 months old at the minute. The 4 fish I pulled out for this video were 40 to 42 cm. Absolutely blew my mind, to be honest with you. And the body volume, they're absolutely packing, looked immense. And the last conversation I had with him, when I told him they were growing in a 6-ton pond with 45 fish, as he does as my teacher, the sensei, he told me it was too much and it needed to be reduced. And for the first time, I kind of sat there and just said, look, please wait and see the results. And yeah, so I sent him these over this morning. And in fact, let me get I'll fill you in on the conversation. It was quite funny. He actually first started by questioning, Ricky, are these the ones you purchased from the mud pond and selected by yourself? He didn't actually recognize them. I think he was that shocked. And yeah, mind blowing and no words. You're so good at growing in your ponds during winter seasons. Well done, Ricky. And then, yeah, it just kind of carried on from there. Then, as he does, he gets a bee in his bonnet, and it was absolutely amazing. And then, yeah, rung me, and we had a good laugh about it. So he did actually share him with all the NND directors and staff as well. So I think I impressed him with that one, which was quite nice. But they are remarkable. I mean, like I say, the guys that entered that event, I mean, what were they, 20 to 25 cm, I think, at the time. And I think the average now, the very smallest fish is 35, but I would say average 38 up to 42. So I would say 40 to 45 by the end of this month when their growing period is finished. And yeah, I love being able to deliver like that for people. It's amazing. So yeah, looking forward to that one. Here's Richard's comment that made me laugh. He's been watching that video. Awesome. Dearie me. There we go. Plenty of you in this evening, guys, which is amazing. Oh, would love to see NND share event. Yes. Well, there you go. We're on it. Good guess, buddy. So yeah, you'll be able to have a crack at that one. I think everybody's going to enjoy it. Oh, question there. We'll get back to that one in a minute. Just see who else is here. Tom, can't wait to see my Kaze shower. No, you're going to be loving it, mate. They are looking absolutely superb. Let's have a look. There we go. Loads you in, guys. Absolutely amazing. And there's Phil. Look, it was really, really nice to see. It really was. Right. I suppose I should filter out some questions then first, guys, and get cracking on a few of them. And like I say, I have got the Kaze video for you. It's not a load of editing. It's literally the snippets that were going to be part of the main video when that gets done. So just bear with me 1 second. Let's find that Karashigoi question there. There we go. Evening, Ricky. Any tips for selecting Karashigoi? Quite interested in the Kawa. Cheers. Yeah, so, I mean, first of all, with the Kawa, absolutely devastating. I don't know quite what's gone wrong this year, but there's been no Tosai available. He's just said result not good. And yeah, I'm kind of missing them as it stands because there's only one of those left on site, albeit I don't know what size this actually is now. Somewhere probably in 70 to 72 cm with just insane volume. That fish is only about 33 months old. I think this lineage for Karashi is stunning and just offers so much value for money. So yeah, selecting them. I mean, the big thing here is not to get too hung up on color when they're young, because like with anything, especially with these mango sort of Karashi lines, what you'll tend to find is the colour will mature more as they get older. And what you can often see in the younger ones is a lighter colour with pigment there in the scales, like you would expect to see with Benny. So yeah, don't worry about that too much. The biggest thing you want to look at is the structural setup of the fish, to be honest with you. And then if you really, really want to strain your eyes, scale alignment. But sometimes the scale alignment issues you won't see until the body kind of gets a bit bigger and they can play out a little bit more. Because they are quite prone and known for it. But getting a perfect one really is difficult, guys. It's not making you think that everyone you should be looking at has got perfect scale alignment, because they are genuinely such rare beasts. But yeah, generally don't obsess too much about the color when they're young, and then just look for the body. What you'll expect to see, if it's a good size toe side, don't be worried about too much volume. Look beyond that and look at the structure. Big head, big mouth, high backbone, good length to the dorsal, and just generally good length on the body, and a nice taper from the head to the tail. No bulges, no nips, anything like that. And then that kind of thing, like this one I've grown, you can just fire food at them all day long, and they're just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So yeah, really, really sad. But I have, fingers crossed, got some Marido Karashigoi coming, which are no slouch and have the Deutz variation in them as well, which I've not had for a little while. I'm generally quite a big fan of. So let's wait and see what happens with that. Hi, Ricky. How do you feed for body and length? Yeah, Alan. So this is just getting the right amount of food. Basically, you've got to have the water temperature. That's a given if you really want to push the growth. What you can do is manipulate body volume. So if you're not feeding, say you're feeding a fixed amount all the time, you could manipulate body volume by manipulating temperature. So say you was feeding growth food, so you're high protein but primarily higher fat, and you're at 25 degrees, the metabolism rate's a hell of a lot higher, so they're burning a lot. What you will do there is start pushing more for length. If you then drop down to 22, what you'll find is after that, you'll start to build more volume and possibly more proportionate growth. When you're at 25, you've really got to make sure you get on that feeding level properly, feeding the maximum food. Otherwise, you will get more length-based growth and not really get that packing volume. At 22, you'll still get very good growth, but like I say, they'll gain more proportionate weight without having to feed excess amounts. And then what you can even do, like a little quick hack, if you're prepping for a show, just trying to get that last little bit. If you're at 18 and you start feeding sake growth, they're going to start piling weight on a rate you wouldn't believe, which can be quite good. What you do have to manage carefully at that kind of temperature is the filters more than anything. But yeah, that's how you do it. It's just getting the right amount at the right water temperature. But the minute you do go sort of 24, 25, you've got to be feeding maximum food to get them all going in the right direction. But you can go through periods, especially with bigger fish, bigger, older, more mature fish. You can go through periods where if you are fully in control of the temperature, kind of heat cycling up a little bit warmer for a period, then coming down to 22. So like 22, 25, every 2 weeks, something like that would be no harm to the fish. But you'll go more through that phase of increasing the body, getting a bit of length, increasing the body, getting a bit of length. And also bear in mind when you start hitting them 24, 25 and above, oxygen becomes even harder to manage as well, especially when you're feeding heavy, because it's such an oxygen intense process. It really can become difficult to manage that environment. So yes, be cautious. Lighting. Yeah, I'm still not there with that one yet, buddy. We are getting there though. When these shipments are out of the way, that's next on my job list. So there will be some information on that before long, that I can promise you. Cambridge Koi. Oh, Mickey, how you doing, buddy? Hi, Ricky. What's your view on pond minerals, especially clay? Does it give any beneficial to the water or the koi? Yeah, I think for me, it's quite good for the fish generally. In summer, you've heard me say I can use this. I like to use this for a bit of turbidity in the water at times, which is good. The biggest thing with clay is it's a good flocculant in the water, and it can help just clump a lot of free particles together while it's in there and help to get them out the pond, which can include bad bacteria that's kind of floating around as well, or the particles that it feeds on at least, and then get that done and out the system. And obviously the good clays, when they're ingested and kind of go through the tract, they can be quite good there. So I see no harm in using them whatsoever. there are differing effects from clays depending on where they originate from. And yeah, generally I've tend to find, I mean, the Japanese refresh one from years ago was just remarkable. I don't quite know what was in that, but that stuff just seemed to turbocharge the water and the fish. It was insane. But yeah, nowadays, I mean, I found the Back to Plus Mizu clay quite good at times. Whatever kind of trace elements in that, in my water, it seems to have a good reaction and help sue me a little bit, which has been quite cool. But they will all differ depending on the body of water they're actually going into as well. But certainly no downside to doing it, Ricky. But to be fair, on the minerals side, I wouldn't say that your water is generally going to be, unless you're absolutely doing zero water changes, you're going to be in a position where that's going to be burnt out of the water all that much. But as a flocculant and just generally cleaning up their environment, they're absolutely great, which will always be beneficial. Peter, why have you not gotten a shop where people can buy from you? Yeah, that's just not where I'm at, Peter, to be honest. I'm a wholesaler. I am working more on collaborative partnerships at the moment. So more in-depth relationships with a couple of clients. Chris being one, to be fair, now he's on his retail venture, JPA and Koiko, and like the guys at Sunnybank I work very closely with. The idea there being is that I can help craft the experience using those guys and all those resources as well, because the amount of people we're dealing with is crazy. That my time as well is a limited resource. There just never seems to be enough of it. And just looking after the fish alone, I cannot take attention away from that. So if I had a shop, you would generally find I probably wouldn't be there a lot anyway, because if I shift focus from being available for purchasing the best fish when they come up, all weekend, for example, there was 3 auctions on. So time consuming to sit in them auctions, but I've got to do that every time these come up, spend time analyzing the fish, make sure I'm not missing anything, talking to all the breeders that I do on a regular basis, see what fish are coming up. This is all probably stuff behind the scenes that you don't get to see, producing the content that we produce. Monday we spent a full day filming podcasts. Didn't quite go to plan either, because some of the secondary cameras were overheating. So rather than, the 4 hours we allocated there for that, or 5, sorry, to do kind of 4 episodes, only got 2 done, and that rumbles on. So just everything all together. Obviously, I've got a business to look after, staff to look after. It's, it wouldn't be that much of a great experience. I feel like if we opened the shop, it would always be an afterthought. And so, yeah, like I say, collaborative and deeper working relationships with some of the guys we're working with is where we're aiming with stuff like that, to be honest. But yeah, good question. And to be honest, this is what I like about what we do with all of this, the events that we do that allows to give that period of time to really engage with a lot of people. The whole online thing allows us to engage with a lot. And to be honest, it's why I struggle again when people reach out for kind of one-to-one advice. It's really difficult because I like to go in depth, and I feel like that stuff I would much rather do. I'm happy to give the time, but it's who can benefit from that time rather than one-to-one. Hence what question time was actually for, initially, for people to come on with the problems. We'd work through them on here, and then everybody watching either live or afterwards could benefit from it, rather than just that give that time and only one person benefit. So that is also still there, guys. If ever anybody would like to join, you're absolutely more than welcome. It would be great. Right, let's see what else we've got. Hi, Ricky. Any decision about filtration for your future ponds? Drum, definitely ruled out. Sieves. No is the answer to that one. I was waiting. Obviously, people know my thoughts on drum filters, but I am kind of caught because I do realize, this is a tough one, because this is the kind of games your head can play on you at times, thinking you're going to be missing out on something. But I've got ponds where they're just a brush chamber and a fluid bed, and the growth in them is exceptional. Then I've got my bigger ponds where I've got the drum filters, but a big fluid bed and now showers, and the growth and everything is exceptional. So certainly the big concept I'm looking at, whether it be a drum, sieve, or whatever it is, standpipe flush, who knows, is to get waste out of the water body constantly, as much as possible. Not got to be constantly, but at least once a day. That's how a lot of the breeders are doing it. Their bottom drains just go directly to a standpipe. Every day they get pulled, so all of that waste is discharged straight to waste. It's gone, it's out of the water body. That is really, really important in creating an environment where the fish are just going to want to keep feeding and keep going. So yeah, the answer is no. We've had some talks with Awaza about potentially popping a system on one of the ponds in the fish house where we've just put the heat in to actually try their drum. Obviously, I've got a lot more awareness now of how to spec a drum for a pond. And I do still stand by that, to be honest with you. I think how drums are being sold in the industry at the minute is pretty poor, just based on flow rates. I don't know exactly the best way that they would do it, but yeah, on flow rates is not it, because my drums were bought on that basis and they cannot handle the volumes of waste that pass through them. It causes a lot of problems, as well as the general shit build quality of them, to be fair, with the cleaning pumps, the floats, all the rest of it. So I'm a big advocate of Awaza products, and yeah, I was thinking it'd be nice to try one of them throughout the season, actually see how it performed before making any decisions on them fish houses. But the clock's ticking, the work's scheduled in for April, so I will get there in the end. One thing I can tell you is fluid beds will be a huge part of it. Showers will be in there, not too much will change. I suppose the biggest thing I've got to decide realistically is what mechanical setup, and yeah, that's going to be an interesting one, Paul. Good question. Telfer Koi pond, will it ever after the male pond that blew my mind? Yeah, I'm loving the male pond at the minute. They're just going from strength to strength in there, really looking insane. Like I say, you can see them on Telfer Koi Pond's videos if you have a look. I think the male pond was part 3, if I remember correctly. Question, not on food, but how do you weigh a koi if you were feeding by weight? Yeah, so to do it properly, you need to have a big set of scales, like we've got, big flatbed scale, and you would use you would put like a measuring bowl on there, or your bowl, fill that up with water, tear it off, and then add the fish in at that point, and that will weigh it accurately. And it's the least stressful way for them as well. Obviously, you could do it with fishing scales. I wouldn't be into that given the sort of fish we're dealing with. So yeah, that's the process. But like I explained, I think it was last week. It's a really, and to be honest, I don't mind talking about feeding regimes and stuff. It's just a whole brand of foods and all the rest of it I'm getting a bit exhausted with. But yeah, you would put that in the bowl, weigh it at that point in the water because you've teared it off. That's absolutely fine. The best way of doing this, but obviously all that equipment is quite pricey as well. The fish you'd really want to be anesthetizing. That's why I said this process is no easy one. There are calculations out there that can help you estimate the body weight, but believe me, generally they're an absolute mile out. So really a waste of time. So I don't think that regime is the best one where you're trying to feed by weight for most koi keepers. If you did it, if you was doing a measure up and you had the equipment, sort of like an end of season measure up, and you log the weight at that point, fair enough. But the problem is you need to be continuously rechecking. And if you want to be super accurate, rechecking every fish. If it was me doing it with a batch of toast, I would take an average out of them, because the general difference in size in there would probably only be around 5 cm from biggest to smallest. So at that point, an average would work really well. But in a really mixed pond, like a lot of you guys will have, really not the best method whatsoever. The timed one that I use is going to be far better for you, because if you don't get the incremental increases throughout the season, you're really not going to benefit properly and get the maximum amount of growth. Wow, half an hour gone already, guys, and we're nearly up to 200 viewers again, which is fantastic. Paul there. Yeah, don't forget, guys, this streams over 2 platforms, so I get a collective view on this screen. But yeah, YouTube really does do a lot of it. Let's have a look. Andy's Koi Puddle. Evening, Ricky and everyone. Plan is to watch your videos tonight, Phil. I'm struggling to keep with YouTube videos right now. Yeah, enjoy, buddy. Enjoy. Yeah, Ray, I couldn't quite agree with that one, to be honest with you. That round pond at Marahiro is quite a spectacle. But to be fair, if I was breeding fish it probably would look something like that for sure. And it is his own pond as well. He's really not asked about letting stuff go out of there. Hence why some of the prices he throws out, I think it's just a sport for him, to be fair. But all a good laugh. Lisa, who's the breeder of the shower behind you on the picture? That is a Dainichi shower, and I believe a Dainichi male shower as well, actually. That was an All Japan winner at some point. Absolutely remarkable fish is that one. Richard, on the Telford Koi Pond video, was amazed about the mud pond raised fish compared to your concrete raised fish. Obviously, the days of the mud pond are numbered. Yeah, it's a really fascinating one, that actually, with mud ponds, because they're a very cheap natural resource that the breeders have got, which is great, and obviously it helps keep costs down. But when you come into quality fish, I think the argument for keeping them in mud ponds is ever decreasing. One of the big things holding it back in Niigata, which I'm very aware of, is that generally the Niigata breeders, farmers, don't like change. They really don't like change, and that's why a lot of things stay as they are. In the Koi Talk magazine, the interview we did with Issa, he openly come out and says, I don't think I'm very good at raising fish indoors. His skills are all mud pond based. So I think there's a big change in mindset to be had there overall. But yeah, I've seen mud ponds. The results can be so scattered depending on the climate. That's ultimately what it boils down to. Last year, it was incredibly hot and there was very little water around. So that meant water levels in mud ponds were dropping. They also weren't getting the fresh water in there, which helps, get the maximum feeding levels. And at that point, they're dealing with super high temperatures. So what that means is, kind of as I just described earlier, the fish are growing, but they're stretching out. They're not getting the volume because they can't feed enough manual, additional food to the natural food that they're eating. So what that means is then they get harvested, and you're seeing fish that have grown in centimeters, or maybe not, because they've had to reduce back on feed that much to manage the pond. And then you've got this severe lack of volume, which is frustrating. Saw that a lot last year. For me, it's understandable, but then it's like, right, where do we go from here? Because that's then, it's kind of like a season lost that you've got to build upon, which that again was where a concrete pond would come in. Because if you've got the right environment, you would take that fish and then actually put it on a feeding program through winter to gain that volume that it hasn't done over the summer. So yeah, I think overall, no, I don't think, Richard, to be honest, I know you said it in a light-hearted manner, buddy, but I don't think mud ponds days are numbered, because if we look at the expanse of water it actually gives farms as well, to put all that into concrete ponds, it would actually probably scale back the production of koi in general. But you are seeing, more and more high-end raising done in indoor ponds now, because of the level of control and safety that it gives, really, versus mud ponds. Yeah, time will tell. There's an argument with some breeders, they just don't believe the skin is the same as that moment it's harvested. But I'd probably see that, the sort of pathogen pressure in a mud pond, you're talking one fish in insane gallonage of water. So overall, it's a really low stress environment for them, which is going to get them looking their absolute peak. But I believe it can be done in a mud pond as well. There is that magical moment when they come out of the mud, but it's such a short-lived one as soon as they are out of it. And, you need to have them in an indoor pond to enjoy them. But I know it can be done. The Narita Koi Farm, for example, has proved it year on year. Sakai, they're proving it. I think it's just a case of the sort of knowledge of doing it and the mindset of breeders of doing it, and changing filtration as well. There, again, Niigata breeders' fish houses are generally built for housing fish over winter. They'll raise tosai in them ponds, but even now you're seeing they know the systems as they're built with the Jap mat, and the basic nature of them really isn't enough to handle the heavy feed load you need to really do a good job. So yeah, interesting times on that one, Richard. But I am sure we will see big change more and more, certainly kind of over the next decade, as a lot of younger breeders are coming through as well. Right, guys, just bear with me. Ooh, here's an horrible question. Who would you pick to grow on at your facility if you could only pick one? Oh, God. In fact, I'm not even going to hesitate there. If I could only pick one, I'd go with my guys at NND, just because I can't, that's such a big part of my koi journey and koi life. I love the fish there. Most of the kind of fish that I call my own are sat at that farm as well. And there's a lot more diversity in the stock if you look at it. All 3 go Sankey. Amazing. The DK line Shiros, they do a good Yamabuki. I've got Kikukuryu from them this year. They do the odd Kajaku. So, yeah, I think I'm going to see Ginrin Showa coming from them this season as well, just because of a couple of things I've seen that they're not letting on yet. But trust me, I think it's coming, and there's a parent fish there that's going to be an absolute weapon for it as well. So, yeah, that would be the reason, to be honest. Although that's an absolutely hideous thing to ask me that, mate. Right, guys, let me see if I can get the video loaded up. And just before I go, I just want to know if that is a joke trick question, life around the koi pond. Let me know before I answer that one. But you will also see from my answer to that one that I'm not just a Kari fanboy in general. It's very, very specific. Right, video. Let's get that in the right mode. So, yeah, this is the Kaze Showas that were in the grow out. This event was done through multiple dealers that I work with. All the fish were released, and it was £295 per fish, including the growing. Again, I feel like it was a hell of a lot of fish for the money, and certainly as you see them now, the results across the board are generally very good, but in a limited number as well, they've just gone absolutely way beyond to some exceptional pieces. So, yeah, let me run this, and yeah, feel free to keep firing away any questions that I'll come back to afterwards. Was 21 on there, and we are now at 30 cm to 37 cm. Bonkers. Few real standout pieces from that one as well. Female piece here, but this in particular, by the time I've got a bit more on that Benny, that is going to look extremely good. What a piece there. Lovely. This Kindai Showa, look in the nuts. That Kindai Showa there is amazing, and that's had a serious growth spurt. I mean, that's now sat roughly about 35, and I think that was 18 on there. That's madness, absolute madness. But yeah, cracking first bowl there. I'm sure going to be some very happy owners. This one here hasn't done so well. Bit of colour failure there with the Benny, which can happen. I think there's only the one or maybe another in here out of the whole 36 that's done it. So yeah, with that one we will be offering the customer a replacement. But other than that, amazing to say these were 295 quid. I think everyone watching probably knows enough to know that the majority of them would not be that kind of price now, especially pieces like that. Amazing, and that's what I love about these grow outs. That value, that surprise when people get them, and the change in a lot of the fish. So yeah, happy days. Get these outside and on to the next ones. So again, originals 18 cm up to 22 cm on that lot, and once again we've got 30 to 37 in the bowl. What a bowl that is. What a bowl that is. Also, when you're looking at these different Benny hues as well, often what you can see is the difference here between male and female. The female being the softer colour at the moment, but I think you can probably see it, guys. The one that got away. Wow, how did I let that slip? Just look at that. My days, what a piece. What a piece that is. Again, really happy with these results overall. Again, another absolutely stunning chore in the making there. This one, by the time that Benny gets a bit more intensity, and again this one even Nice, really strong-bodied female. Super stuff. Yeah, some bonkers scenes in this bowl. So, what we got here again? 19 up to 23. Not actually measured these, so yeah, we'll take a look and then I'll stick a couple on the measure. But my goodness. There's the one I'm upset about. Oh my word. Never mind that Kindai next to it. Wow. This looks phenomenal. This has really come on. That's going to start taking shape in the not too distant future. That looks great. Yeah, what a bowl that is. Amazing. What is it? 3-step shower there. So yeah, we've got 32 to 36 in here again. Oh, I can't stop looking at that. Oh, just, yeah, you can see the results so consistently good across the board, really. Again, this, honestly, looking back at the picture, this has come on really strong. You can see it there. Oh, that zoom is sort of stretched out across the head, look. Just generally as it's got more space on the body. I think it's a female fish as well. Super result, that Kindai, look. Oh dear. So here we go, last ones. We were 19 to 22 on there. We've just come in at 31 to 36 again, so consistent with that, which I really like. But my days, what a bowl again. And this, just wow. Look at the change there. That's going to be one very, very happy chap. The body on this, again, was there, look. Absolute powerhouse. That is not a typical body from this lineage. Kaze Showa are not the fastest growing. I've said this before, the Sekiguchi Dainichi cross, I think a lot of the Sekiguchi genetics play through in them. Not something you can typically push too hard either. So I've not gone completely gung-ho with these. And yeah, but that body is not typical of this lineage. That is powerful. But look at that. Oh my days. Yeah. See the height on that one, look. Just quality, real quality. This looks absolutely stunning. But yeah, where's it gone? Look at this. That's the kind of memoir dreams are made of. And the rest of that pattern and that belly. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Nishikigoi journal. I forgot to unmute my microphone there, sorry. Yeah, there we go. So hopefully a few of the owners got to catch up on that one, or will do as the video sort of replays back. Let's say we are putting the full video on the YouTube channel when we get all that processed and done. But yeah, very, very pleased with them. Not so pleased with a few of them absolute gems that that a few people have got their hands on. But there we go. Can't keep them all. Right, I'm going to come back to this question now. I don't think no. So no response to what I said. But yeah, Hikari friend. I mean, just no. That's about where I can go with that one. To be honest with you, there's far better foods out there than that one that aren't under the Hikari brand. So yeah, just no, and I'll leave that at that. To be fair, Craig. Hi, Ricky. I bought a Kohaku Mariama in October. It was 27 cm and now 27 cm in June 22, still 27 cm. Now, as I'm unheated, can I still recover it this season or will it be stunted as being stood still for now about 18 months at Sansai? Yeah, so I just realised as well, Fancy Carp's question before, I missed the Sankey bit out of that, which throws a complete spanner in the works. And I'm just going to refuse to answer it. So that's where we are with that one, buddy. Right. So in the case of this Mariama Kohaku, I think, yeah, your problem is you will still recover growth. It's not gone completely. And what will make a big difference here, realistically, is if the fish is male or female, because the body line develops slightly differently. So at Sansai, if it's female, you will more than likely start to be developing a bit of egg in the region. What can happen is the frame, the bone structure itself can start to set a little bit smaller. So what you might find is that if you don't, if you start just forcing food at it, it's not going to grow at the same pace, although it will grow. If you go too hard, you might start getting a little bit rugby ball-esque, especially if it is, like I say, female. Male, not so much, and that would actually probably make it easier to recover some growth, but it's just going to be a lot more challenging, and possibly where you would lose it is in a potential end size. But that's even if that, what that was the potential end size anyway. So, when you're trying to raise super jumbo, then, every year, every season makes a massive difference to getting them last centimeters at the very end. But yeah, don't write it off, Craig. You've still got time, buddy. Just try your best with it. Who's the breeder of the yellow monkeys? That is Dainichi Koi Farm. Amber, hi Ricky. Are the plastic backy showers good? Is it worth paying more for the steel or the Momotaro ones? Absolutely. Please do not think you need to waste a shitload of money on buying the steel or the Momotaro ones. Showers, as with most filters, and actually me and Chris were doing a podcast about this week, it's more about understanding the concept. I'm trying to replicate that. The materials generally are irrelevant so long as they're not toxic, which in this case none of them will be. It's just you don't need to be spending a fortune to have a shiny stainless steel one. It's an absolute waste. It's the concept you want to be looking at, the flow rate over it, the airflow around it, all them kind of things. So yeah, even down to the media, you don't need to be paying a fortune for these posh medias, so long as it's in there, it's fairly porous to maximize on surface area more than anything. That's going to be absolutely all you need, because again, it's more around the concept of shower filtration with the high flow rates, the degassing, the oxygenation, and everything there, where you really get the benefits. Yes, you'll benefit biologically from the media, but that's not where the real benefits come. And I would say if we're just looking at it from a pure biological perspective, without the degassing, they're actually quite an inefficient way of filtering water because of having to pump water at head to actually get them to function. So yeah, as an add-on, they're great. But like I say, don't worry about spending a fortune on the media or the shower itself. Just look at the concepts, make sure the design is good, and get a decent flow rate, and you'll be laughing with that one. I'm really not into paying top dollar for all that stuff. Right, let's have a look. Oh, that was reminded me. Evening, buddy. So, folks, I have got a pending visit this year to an old friend of mine over in Denmark to do a talk. I'm going to be out there for 2 days. We've got quite an amazing following out in that area of the world. And yeah, he reached out and asked if I could go and do it. And I thought, why not? Hopefully give the chance to take the missus away for a bit as well, who is watching. And I've just seen, actually, she said, just wanted to remind me, I think, of how demanding she is. Oh, there we go. Look, I'm not sure what that was in relation to, but I'm guessing saying about all the pressures of stuff, but she's really not that bad. So yes, guys, I'm sure demand over there is going to be pretty lively anyway. But if anybody else fancies a trip over to Denmark, when all that's properly firmed up, I will release the details and yeah, maybe get yourself a ticket, get yourself over there. Hey, who knows? Oh, here's a good one. Trevor, evening, Ricky. Do the koi lineages of today all descend from older lineages like Tomoin, I suppose that's supposed to be, Sadazo, etc.? Yes, they do. Now, interestingly, the older lineages in sort of koi today play such a little part. Now, I was doing a period of really big research into this for some documentation that I wanted to produce, and the biggest thing that we found is now it's like when you dial back to the days when Tomoin, Sadazo, Sensuke, all these guys, when these lineages were created, they were pure. You could really see the strong characteristics in them. But then everything just went through a period as kind of like the next generation of breeders came along, all this blood just started getting mixed together. And then ever since then, it's just been a massive inbreeding, outbreeding, you name it, to get to where we are today. So there's such small percentages of any of that blood there whatsoever, and there's no distinct clarification. And yeah, that's kind of where it's at now. It's hard to kind of track fish, Sakai. You talk about lineages, you're there, Sakai. There's so many bits of all these old lineages in the foundations of it. When I was talking to Takano about his lineage, just straight away there, the gin that he gets, I was curious where that came from, because the only other Sankey I've ever seen that in was Matsunosuke. And the origins of his Sankey lineage is Marado cross Sakai, which to my knowledge didn't have any Matsunosuke blood. And straight away he's gone, no, way back. Apparently, I don't know how true it is. It's from him, not from them. There was fish in the Matsunosuke, in the Sakai lineage that originated from Matsunosuke, more than likely, So this is it. It's just so much happened since those early days. But you see a few where the characteristics have remained quite strong. And actually that ties into this question. Does Matsue Kohaku old Sensuke lineage still stand up against more modern lines from other breeders? Yeah, I mean, that's one of the few where they've kind of kept it quite close. Obviously, not exactly so, but quite close to that original lineages. And yeah, you do see it. I mean, Matsue is a super strong lineage, mega powerful Kohaku, really, really superb Benny as well. Yeah, they absolutely stand up in the modern koi world. I would say possibly against, from a show perspective in Japan, probably not as big as some of the other breeders and farms out there, but I possibly think that leans more towards the pattern styles more than anything with that one, interestingly enough. So, yeah, lineages, knowing those old lineages is fascinating. It can give some really small insights, but actually in very modern koi, it's pretty irrelevant, to be fair. And what you can get is these kind of, genetics from way back throw up randomly in spawnings, but it can be so hard to actually narrow it down and track it down. So, yeah, there's a cracking book out there, Nishikigoi Mondo. I'm not actually sure you can even buy copies of it anymore, but that in there has got this, these diagrams, and they're a head fuck, to be honest. There's that complicated about all them old lineages. But first and foremost, although it is super interesting to know, it's actually probably more important if you're looking at it from a purchase perspective of knowing more directly about the parent fish, where the fish came from. Because right there, you're probably going to have a closer understanding of what might come, i.e. the size of the parent, rather than knowing, because that's all good and well, if say it's from a Sakai parent, but it's actually a runt of a litter that they're breeding from. So straight there, if you're talking, I don't know, it's 5 years old and 60 centimeters, that's not a fish that's going to produce super jumbo offspring unless some of the older genetics kind of skip a generation and end up in the offspring. So yeah, knowing more about the actual parent fish they've come from, you'll probably find more useful. But then more important than that, understanding the fish in front of you, because they're not all born equal. So despite, whatever's in that parent set, the individual is the very first thing you should be looking at. Because if that's not got the right kind of structure, but it's from a meter long parent, you ain't going to get that fish to grow, above probably 70 cm or with the right body either. So please do bear that in mind and put the focus in the right area first and foremost. Although, like I say, getting into the journey of and understanding lineages more is quite fascinating. And it can add a dynamic. I was actually speaking to Phil about this when he came to visit. You know, it can really open up a hobby for you when you get to know this, because all of a sudden it's not just a shower, for example, because every lineage out there, or parent set, should we say, or breeder, might have a slightly different quirk to the fish, which all offer something very different. And that's often when I'm looking at fish every year. It's not just, oh, I want some kohaku, I'll go here. It's, I fancy, you know, this kind of characteristic, or this kind of characteristic's appealing to me. Who's the right breeder for that? Where can I go? Can I get the fish? So I actually, you know, Otsuka, I'm after Asagi this year. If I can't get them from Otsuka, I'm not going to do it, because I want that Otsuka face characteristic that comes from his Mombi lineage. Because it's just dreamy. It really is. And that's what I want to get. That's the characteristic I want to raise. So yeah, it does add an absolutely epic dynamic to it. Benjamin, looking at doing my first PP treatment for Costia. It's a 2,000-gallon pond, unheated. What would you say is the best treatment process routine? Stick to the exact dosage. Any hints, tips? Yeah, first and foremost for Costia, I mean, this is an interesting one. You've always got to be careful when it's cooler, because treatments are just different. The recovery after treatments can tend to be a lot slower as well. If you are inexperienced, you always need to stick around the dosages, certainly with certain treatments. So I'm going to mention one here where it's paramount. For Costia, generally my go-to is Alparex for getting rid of Costia. The reason being is it's such an aggressive parasite. It tends to really damage the slime coat and has a big effect on the skin. With Alparex, the acroflavin is so strong in it, and it's a great treatment for helping to soothe that skin. What will also happen is if you do damage the slime coat, which Costia will do, that could lead to potentially fungal spores getting in there. And the malachite in that is also good at actually destroying them at the same time. So I think all round, as well as getting rid of the Costia, you've got a treatment there that's going to really help the recovery as well. PP is a little bit different. You've really got to get the dosage right to effectively get rid of parasites with it. Trichodine is the best one with PP. You've not got to go crazy. But yeah, with Costia, you might find you've got to be tinkering with the dosages in order to get it to work. And you've got to be careful with that, because if you overstep the line with potassium, you'll be in trouble. Always recommend having some dechlorinator on hand with that to neutralize it, just in case, you know, something goes wrong. And actually, I was going to say this just for potassium, but with any medication, don't be dosing it in the evening. Put it in first thing in the morning if you're doing it, just so you can observe the fish throughout the day, ideally on a weekend. But obviously then if you've got something like Costia, don't wait either. But always do it in the morning, just so you can try and keep an eye on things. You know, as you go to bed, you'd be over the worst of it as well. So yes, that would be my choice. Let's say the Colombo Alparex, if you can get hold of it. Just make sure your KH is in order before you go firing it in. With the fluctuation in temps here and spring hopefully around the corner, do you think we suffer with parasites in spring just because of the koi's low immune system? Seems I suffer in spring only. Yeah, it's a given. You know, we're in a place where, I've said this before, their optimum immune sort of function is at 24, 25 degrees. Every degree below that, it's less than optimal. And then you hit Aeromonas alley, you know, really where your bacteria, all your parasites, everything can really thrive, but their immune system's not great. You've got these fluctuating temperatures, which is a stressor constantly. There's just a lot going on in spring, which is where having heating can be phenomenal to just kind of at least give you the stability. You know, on a warm day when it warms up, you can just get the heater on to crack it and keep it there rather than getting the fluctuation. It's not a case of heating straight through. If you can do that, amazing. But at the very least, use it just to add more stability to your pond, which will help with all this as well. Also, remember that in general, a lot of medications are less efficient in cooler water as well, which, is a pain in the arse. Ricky, what's your thoughts on these paper filter? Have we taken mechanical aeration too far? They can filter down to 5 micron. I mean, yeah, I've not seen it, to be honest. And Yeah, I'm not interested in seeing it really. Yeah, I think we have taken it too far. You've got to remember that you have got in your biological filter, and again, this is something I've said a few times, one of your best mechanical filters is your biological filter. You know, it's capable generally of feeding on particles down to 1 micron, which is even more impressive than the 5 micron. But you've got to feed a biofilm. You've got to feed it, and stripping everything out before it gets there is not going to help that process whatsoever. So yeah, I think it's definitely gone too far. It's getting absolutely mental. I'm not the only person who said this. You know, there's far smarter people than I have know this. So yeah, wow. And I bet that comes with a pretty fruity price tag as well. Can't wait to see more on that one. Right. Let's have a look. Have you got any plans on bringing in some Isakoaku? Yeah, not right now, buddy. Again, I've mentioned, you know, it's something I'm looking at, been really seeing the rise of them as he produces more and more every year. They'll come. But if an opportunity, you know, arises next year, the year, I'll probably look at it. I've got my head into other Koaku lineages at the minute, which you'll hear more of soon. But yeah, I mean, absolutely taking nothing away from it. It's just done a remarkable job over the past sort of 4 or 5 years of bringing the standard of these Koaku up to another level. And I really do think he's going to make waves at some point soon. Would a concrete pond with 80 cm plus? Would a concrete pond with 80 cm plus in a mud pond? Sorry, Paul, you have to reword that one for me, buddy. Oh, here's a good question. Again, big topic in the podcast this week. Spring is coming. Should we pre-medicate the pond to prevent bacteria? Absolutely not. Honestly, it's one of the worst things that you can do. I am going to sit tight on that, though, and just say stay tuned for a future podcast episode. I can't remember which one it's going to be, where we discuss that in depth. I think you might find it's not going to be not this Sunday, the one after, when that one will drop. So, yeah, interesting topic, but I am not. Preventative dosing is not a clever thing to be doing. And generally, all I'll say is when an environment, you know, when you've got a healthy environment, you are putting it at risk by using preventative treatments that, you know, basically kill bacteria, because none of these treatments are smart enough to just kill bad bacteria. They kill good as well. Bear that in mind. Wow, we've hit an hour. That's crazy. So let's have a look. One last one here. Ricky, any plans on bringing in Kajaku after seeing that cracking piece on the WhatsApp group from Omasako? Crispon. So I have got a shipment arriving tomorrow, and I mean, who knows? There could be a batch of Omasako Kajaku on there. Not sure. You'll have to wait and see, but that would be amazing to get a batch of them to grow on. Absolutely. Evening, Alan. Just seen that, buddy. We've got an amazing amount of comments this evening, guys. Really have. Yeah, so there we go. Just to recap the event, just going to give that one more plug because I don't know where we stand, if anything happened since I first come on air, but the Battle of the Breeders event, we're actually doing a full weekend at Newark Showground, 27th and 28th of April. The main Battle of the Breeders, which is a private event for the ticket owners and their guests to come and join. There are only 3 tickets remaining now, one at Sunnybank Koi and one with Chris at JPN Koiko. 2, with them, and then that's it for that one. And then, yeah, on the Sunday, the sort of open event, very soon there'll be more information on actually getting the tickets just to come and attend the venue and the event that we put on. But we're also doing another grow out on that day with NND DK Shiros. They're going to be priced at $295 a go, including raising again at Koi Wholesale. And they'll be coming back along with the Battle of the Breeders fish to the second event in September. So more information to come on that one. And yeah, again, really, you want to be in a WhatsApp group. So there it is one more time if you're not in there already, which is where you'll get the bulk of the updates before anybody else. And yeah, there we go, folks. Thank you very much for joining me once again. I will be back next week and see what we can get done for that. Let me know in the comments before we wrap up if there's anything specific you'd like in the koi segment that we do, and I'll try my best to cater for what you're asking for. Other than that, I'll just pull something up. But yeah, if there is something specific, please let me know. And yeah, there we go. And say thanks to everyone that tuned in. Got over 200 people again on the live. It is phenomenal. I remember the days when I started this and it was just a few. I remember someone saying to me, even at that point, I think it was only 50 or 60 people. They said, can you imagine all those people in one room? Wow, that's just a completely different way of framing that. But yeah, to have 200 or so in a room be pretty immense. So thank you for everyone. It is appreciated. And I will catch you all next week.